Super 6 is the fact that it is binaural or binaural. I don't know. I've only ever seen it in print. I'm going to say binaural, and I hope it's right, but if it's wrong, this is going to be a very comedic video. Okay, so binaural. Basically what it is it's creating a stereo field by taking 6 of the voices, not notes, 6 of the voices, because there are 12 voices, and panning them to one side, and 6 of the voices and panning them to another side. And in doing so, because of natural variances between the analog filters, it starts to create differences in what you're hearing in one ear and what you're hearing in the other ear. And that basically is creating stereo images inside your head, which is a subtle but beautiful effect. The fact of the matter is, though, this synthesizer has a beautiful tone to it, and it's largely because of what's happening. This was a revolution for me because I typically only demonstrate stereo functions in stereo, and the rest of the time I'm in mono. But with this synthesizer, because of the binaural functionality, I've had to have it in stereo the whole time. So it actually forced me to buy new equipment. So thanks UDO, and also thanks UDO. Anyway, so it is in binaural mode and poly 1 when you turn it on. It's not really noticeable that there's a binaural effect going on until you start doing things with the filter over time, etc. That's just not what even a nice digital oscillator sounds like through an analog filter. It sounds better. And I think it is because of these natural variances. The real trick is like turning on LFO1 and then doing left-right phase. So you can hear everything moving around, and it's all moving around differently. And so you get different notes with their own analog filter in different places inside your head. And it is a beautiful effect. So that's what's happening with binaural. You can turn it off in 2 of the voice assigned modes, poly 1 and poly 2. When you turn it off in poly 1, what you get is, let's turn this other stuff off. So what you get is basically each has, it's 12 voices of 2 oscillators each, which is madness. There's still a stereo effect going on here. They are naturally spread in the stereo field. So you might be wondering, okay, so now we're listening to poly 1 voice assign without binaural. And so what is the difference between the setting poly 1 and poly 2? Poly 1 has basically allows tails to happen as you play different notes and chords. So there is a point where you will get note stealing. However, because there are so many notes available here, 12 different notes, I find it kind of hard to to hear the tail chopping when it does happen. So here, let's try. I guess if we had it really high, we'd be able to. It's so artfully done that, and there are so many notes. I can't really, every once in a while I'm like, oh, there went a note. But in general, you don't have a lot of stealing sounds because the polyphony of this synthesizer is just too high. I heard a couple of notes lost in there, but in general, it's just too good. There we go. Did you hear that? If you play something really obnoxious and choppy like this, you'll hear the notes go. But yeah, in general, the polyphony is decent enough on this synthesizer. You're not really going to worry about losing tails. Unless, of course, you switch to Poly 2. Poly 2's deal is that the release phase of the notes that overlap will be, as UDO says, curtailed. So you can hear very clearly that when you play the next chord, the old chord is hacked off. I don't know. Is this a common thing in polyphonic synthesizers? It's a cool effect. I actually like it. So basically, they're forcing you to lose the tails. And I can imagine there are probably recording instances where that is really useful. In that instance, like, you get the definition of each of the chords, and then when you're done, you get the tail, which is that's reasonable. Also, you can do this in binaural. That's interesting. Yeah, I should have played here's what binaural sounds like, here's what not binaural sounds like. So here's what binaural sounds like in Poly 2. You don't really have the notes hopping around in the stereo field like you do when binaural is off, but you do start to hear kind of a weird spread that happens as the natural variances in the voices occur. Let's listen to Poly 1 in binaural. You're likely to hear the note stealing a lot more in binaural because it's basically 6 parts instead of 12. So obviously that's going to make more of a difference when you're in binaural and you're in Poly 1. You're really going to be able to hear the stealing. And the same with Poly 2. But so Poly 1, binaural. Poly 1 non-binaural. Anyway, so that's the two polys. Now,